da 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 da.
Yeah, you should take it personally.
I can go louder then.
Oh, I know you can. Trust me.
I try to lean back when I laugh because I know my laugh.
Yeah, I do have a loud laugh
particularly
too.
obnoxious.
She's so loud. Her laugh is so loud that because on the little thing here, it'll be like
You can
it'll go
see the-
red, and then when it's flashing like that, too loud.
There is an episode where Ben told me his India story, which is horrifying and hilarious at the same time.
It's true. That is true story.
And when I listened back to it, I was literally wheezing with laughter. Like I sound like I'm like having an asthma attack or something. I'm dying, and I was like, I can never laugh like that again. So don't ever tell the story again.
But
Ben.
you know the best part about that is it's my own misery you're laughing at, just
I know,
so we're on
but
the same page.
I think it really is the fine example of your gift of storytelling.
That's the way you put it. Thank you so much.
You're
it's not the
welcome.
fact that I was dying
You
in a
didn't
Delhi
die.
airport. Outside of that,
You didn't die. You're alive
where I
in front
literally
of me.
grabbed a woman and said, "I'm in trouble,"
See?
and she looked at me like, "What?"
No, my
do you want me
favorite
to do?
part is like when you try to pay them, when they're like, "No, you have to pay us," and you're like, "All
Oh,
I
it's the
have."
best part.
Oh my god.
Emily, he can't tell you the story right now, but he could tell it to you over a
I'm already
cocktail.
good. This would be fun.
I
haven't
will
told her
cry
in a
and
long
laugh
time.
again. I'll laugh again. It's a great story. Welcome, Emily, to the
Our
podcast.
our guest Emily is here with us. We often have trouble getting into a topic.
And it could go anywhere.
It's
So
fine. We've done a number of these. So the problem is we've talked about Game of Thrones today
Okay.
in detail, where I got on a
Okay.
soapbox about how I hate George Martin very much, and then
we talked about sexy cowboys
Okay.
way too many times.
with Bob way too many times. With a man. It wasn't like there was
Okay.
another woman here and we were talking about sexy
Maybe we
cowboys.
need to have this conversation.
Wait. We should test her on which sexy
which
cowboy.
sexy cowboy she's a
Which
fan
was
of.
it? They
So
were
we
arguing about Yellowstone, and there's 3
all right.
versions of it, which I didn't know.
Right, there's those prequels. Do you watch Yellowstone?
Well, I've watched some of it.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
That's all you need, that much information. Okay,
That's
so
all
there's
you need.
a 1923 prequel that
Yeah.
has Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren as
Okay.
the matriarch and patriarch of that version. Then there's an 1883, and I couldn't remember who the stars of that were. And our
And
guest
Bob's
Bob,
hot take was that the 1883 version was better than the original.
which
Yellowstone.
is
Okay.
what I had heard. And it stars Faith Hill and Tim McGraw.
Okay.
But Sam Elliott,
Yeah.
hot
famous from Roadhouse.
Famous from Roadhouse.
I
Yeah.
thought it was the
Big sexy
Sam guy
cowboy
from
man.
Jurassic
Yeah.
Park. I was wrong.
which I was like, no, that's Sam Neill.
Yes,
we got
thank
there.
you. We got there.
So then we had that big sexy cowboy. Then it turns out that on the current, so Yellowstone present day,
Normal. Yep.
the guy who plays Rip,
Yep.
Cole Hauser,
Yep.
big sexy cowboy, he is somehow friends with someone in Bob's life.
Yes.
I have to cough.
Oh god. Oh god. She's dying.
Tell a story about it. It's probably funny.
What story?
My dying. You
Oh.
said Tina's
Oh.
dying, and I said tell a story about it. It's probably funny.
You'd have to something would actually have to go wrong, and then I tell the story
I know.
later.
And then as long as I was still alive.
Yeah,
If you had actually
you had died.
at the end of the story, I wouldn't have laughed.
We also talked about death on multiple occasions. This went south.
It's been a wild
Well, I guess
ride,
so.
Emily. Vegas brings it out in us. Are you
Yes.
a Vegas fan? You
I do
gamble?
like Vegas.
We took her from the blackjack table. She literally just told me that she was on the blackjack table, grandfathered into the $15.
Yeah, I
and
just
she
got
left.
grandfathered in. And I was thinking, am I going to do this podcast at 3:30? So it was on my calendar at 3:30. And then a little thing popped up on my phone. I was like, shit, it's at 1:30 because I'm on Vegas time.
Oh.
So I just
She
got
thought she was in
grandfathered
Central.
in.
Okay. What does it mean to be grandfathered?
Oh,
I don't gamble. See, this is good information.
In the mornings, typically it's cheaper to
Okay.
gamble. So it was a $15 table.
Oh,
and then
then-
they switched it to 25.
And you were
but
still
if you're
in at
sitting there,
15.
they'll grandfather you in. You could play all night at $15, which is
Aw, I'm sorry.
No,
we broke
quite
your
all right.
That's what I
$15
said.
I said
opportunity.
he probably saved me some money, honestly.
I said, well, at least it wasn't a heater. If she'd have been a heater and she'd come to a
right.
podcast, I would have been pissed. Just for
He
the
was
sheer
explaining
nature
like
of it.
I was on a heater and I couldn't leave the table.
Ryan O'Hara.
Ryan O'Hara.
But the
Heater?
Ryans.
What's a heater?
Was it?
What's a heater?
What's a
A
heater?
heater's like,
You're winning?
You're winning.
yeah, you're winning. It's a hot. You can't
Okay.
leave a heater, right?
Okay.
Well, he's like, you can't leave a heater. He was like, no, I got to hit a heater last night. I was up till 4. I was like, what?
Oh my God.
And then
But the best part of the story is like, oh, I said, how much were you up? He's like, none. I lost it all. I was like, that's not a heater, my friend. A heater is you got hot and you left. You got the frig
walked
out of
away
there.
with
Like,
the money.
It's very
right?
hard to
that's-
walk
Those
away.
are the opposite
Yes.
things.
I
Well,
never
then-
win
yeah.
at night. I can win like if I go play now, and I don't know why that is because it's not like the cards are different or the dealers
Right.
are different. But like during the day seems to be I'm a little bit
Right.
luckier. I play at night maybe because I start drinking.
There you go. Well, we were taking.
And then I
We
leave
don't
at
make as
night.
good decisions. This is true. Well, the thing is,
And
you
I
might
always
be
end up
up.
with
It might
no
be the same
money.
thing, but you're having fun and you're like, this is
Right,
good.
right.
we're good.
And again, they
Very
turned
hard
your
to walk
money
away.
into toys, and now you're playing with toys.
we also had that
That
discussion.
was
That's
my
right.
because I've only ever won any money at roulette, and I
Yeah.
would have played until it was all gone if I hadn't had a friend there who was like, "You
Yeah.
should stop now."
And
'cause
she,
you're
when
up."
she says money, she meant like $80. She's
No,
not
no,
saying
no,
a
I'm
lot
not
of
like a-
money. No, but that's our
I
point. The
think
point
that
is
Emily
like,
can appreciate that she was
Absolutely.
at a $15 table. She's
That's
like,
right.
"You made." I doubled my
I'm
money.
happy to-
That's what I could, and that's how I like to deliver that. I doubled my money, and they're like, "How much did you win?" I was like, $40.
Hey,
I'm gonna go buy myself a cup of coffee.
winning.
Thank you.
oh yeah,
With
yeah.
my $40.
Yeah, I bought lunch.
Well,
it was
I was
30.
like, well, at least I had my money and I had more money. That's the art.
That's
does it
right.
not?
You won.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I never did get my
Thank you for your-
Starbucks sandwich this
Doesn't matter
morning.
how
Thank you for your
Never.
support, Emily. Oy. What happened to your
better than
sandwich?
losing.
I ordered it and it was like, it was just busy this morning. And it was so long, I was like late for a thing, and I was like, I gotta go meet this person. So I left, and I came back like 30 minutes later. We don't have any order for you. I was like, I mean, I knew it was gonna take a long time, so
Right.
I can't be that far off. Nope, nothing. I just like walked away. I'm like, forget it. Forget it.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
All right, Tina, here we are. This is our first advertisement on the show. How do
I
you
don't
feel?
even know what I'm excited. I'm nervous. It's a real switch for us.
It's a real switch. Nice. That was like the perfect intro for our good friend Nate from Switch RCM. Nate, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I appreciate y'all having me.
Great. Tell us a little bit about Switch. How did it get started? We know that you founded it with your wife, which is insane on Tina. Tina and I think it's crazy, but we don't know your wife that well. So tell us a little bit about how it got started.
A lot of our clients will comment on that unique sort of origin story. Wife and I actually met at work at Epic, and we worked together at a couple of jobs after. So for us, it was sort of natural to work together, and led to the creation of Switch as a company. Is I was working on the healthcare provider side. I was in senior management on a revenue cycle team that was responsible for physician billing. I have a technical background coming from Epic. I understand Epic and the data structures, and being on the operations side, I no longer had access to the data that I felt I needed to effectively do my job. That was a big thing. And so my wife was working with a data analytics firm at the time, and I said, hey, I've got an idea. How about you quit your job and we start a company together, get this data that I need to do my job, and make it usable, really unlock the value of it. So that was part of the original premise. And then the other piece was, well, how do we start this business? How do we get it going? How do we make money? One of the things that we saw with that provider that I was working for is they weren't collecting any money on underpayments. And so we saw that as an opportunity. They had a vendor in there, but it wasn't resulting in recoveries for the client. So what we did is our first engagement for Switch was a revenue recovery project where we helped that client across several of their major commercial payers recover millions of dollars in undercharges and underpayments, and sort of correct some issues that they had with setting their prices that wasn't getting them the maximum reimbursement. Anyway, that really turned into the core focus of Switch is using standard data, using billing system data, and being able to unlock the value of it. And so those are the areas where we focused, is continuing to unlock value in standard transactions and billing system data.
Well, that's fantastic.
Well,
So
who
you
doesn't
took
love
a-
the sound of millions of dollars, first of all?
Exactly. So you really took like what you saw as being like, I don't have access to this data anymore, but I know I can help people, get access to it, which has always been an issue. Fantastic. All right, how do we find Nate and the team at Switch? Like, how do people reach out?
Come to our website, which is switchrcm.com.
All right, folks, if you need help with Epic and data and trying to figure out underpayments positions, interest payments, some analytics issues, like, reach out to these guys. These guys are wicked smart, as we like to say on the show. Wicked smart. Well, thanks, Nate. We appreciate it. We'll be hearing more from you.
Thank you.
Now, back to the show. Yes, but it's astonishing to me that my Starbucks that would be like $8 at home is $17 or $18 here.
It's
I'm like,
ridiculous.
It's wild.
Anyway.
It's crazy. I
All
had
right,
a
so you
$30
were winning?
margarita yesterday.
Oh, nice. Delicious.
What'd you
It was
have?
quite yummy.
Was it delicious? She had a $30 margarita.
Well, actually, I had 3 of them, but yes, I had a $30.
She had three $30 margaritas. That's why she was
I
at the
wasn't
buffet
paying,
table.
but yes.
Of course. Of course you are.
That's right.
I mean, I didn't pay
I was
that,
happy
but
to drink
someone
it.
paid it.
Right.
I'm not sure who actually.
Yes.
Actually, it doesn't even surprise me
Not sure
anymore.
it
You
really
can't find a drink anymore, anywhere, under like 15.
Oh, for sure, not 50.
And then, like,
Not here.
Before
Yeah.
the pandemic,
No.
if you'd have paid $15 for a cocktail, you're like, wow,
Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
expensive.
Yeah.
Now it's like 22.
Everything is,
You're like,
everything is crazy expensive. It's
Yeah.
astonishing.
For like a glass of wine. You know, like 15 used to be kind of expensive for a glass of wine. Now it's like the minimum.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
and for the
it's
small
ridiculous.
pour.
For
And
one
for the small
glass.
pour.
what are they doing on the pours?
Right. Do you want a 3 ounce or whatever? You know, they always ask you.
3 ounces? I don't drink wine, so I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I think
not
it's
a
a
lot.
3 ounce or a 5 ounce or
Something like that, yeah.
it's something like that. And then there's the price difference. But I would say it's like the low end small pour is like
Yeah.
$15.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
All right, so Emily, tell us, like, how did you? Are you from Texas?
I am.
Like, where'd you born and raised? Born and raised where?
In Houston area. Yep.
Houston.
Houston. Actually, I was telling the story the other. I don't know who I was talking to. Who was I talking to? I can't remember. But so I was born in Pasadena, which is on the southeast side of town, and now it's not like the greatest part of town.
My sister lives in
And,
Pasadena.
Does she?
Serious?
Yeah.
Right
My
now?
sister lives in Deer Park, which
As
is
we-
right there.
She
yeah.
used to live in Deer Park.
Yeah. So I went
It's
to
like a hole. I
elementary
don't like
school.
it. I don't like it. I remember being totally front with you. I don't like it, but keep going.
Yeah. So I went to elementary school in Deer Park. So I did live in Deer Park for
Yeah.
a piece of my childhood, and then moved to Kingwood, clearly on the other side of town. So that's kind of where I went to high school. You know, my kids went to school out there, and then I got this job at UTMB, which is in Galveston, and so it was too far for me to commute.
Yeah, how far is Galveston?
From
Houston?
Houston, I'd say 45 miles south. Yeah.
South.
Obviously south.
Oh, right, because it's like on the water, right?
Yeah, it's an island.
Yeah.
It literally is an island. Yeah.
UTMB is on an island?
Main hospital on Galveston Island.
Damn, I learn something new every day.
I know.
You live in Nashville?
Detroit. Detroit. Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I thought you were in Nashville.
No.
Okay.
It's because he does his live from Nashville.
Maybe
podcast.
so.
We
I
did
did
it
that like four
times.
times. 4 times. So, wow. So
Yeah.
you live on an island? You live in Galveston?
I do.
What is that like?
You know, it's
How many bridges are there to the mainland? One?
One.
Shut up.
Yep.
There's a couple islands in Detroit
Yeah.
because of the river. You know, we're on
Okay.
we're on the water. People
Okay.
probably don't think about that, but Canada's
Yeah.
right there. But there's Grosse Ile, which is pretty large and has a lot of people that live there. It's a very weird place. You don't move there unless you're from there.
Yeah, I don't think I've
Like,
ever been to Goertz.
Yeah, I have. It's a very strange place.
Okay.
But there's 2 bridges. They're small.
Okay.
But one's been out for like 2
Oh.
years, right? And
Yeah.
people, it is a
Not right.
disaster.
Right.
There's another island called Harson's Island,
That's
which
where
is
my aunt
only
and
by
uncle
ferry.
live. Yep.
Yep.
So you have to take a car ferry over to get to the. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is insanity. I don't even understand.
Yes.
the
I've
concept.
been on Harson's Island when they can't take
ferry
the
doesn't
ferry
work,
across
yes.
because
Yeah.
of the ice.
Ice. Yes,
And
actually,
you're
it's
stuck.
cold. You don't
We
have
do
that
a
problem.
ferry. I mean, I don't go that way, but we do have I guess, a ferry that runs between, like, what's called Crystal Beach. What do they call it? I forget. but you can get there by ferry. But
So-
coming out, like going to Houston on and off the island, one causeway. So if something happened, we'd be
So
stuck.
do you leave the island very often?
Well, it's funny.
Is like a Costco on this island?
You know,
I'm just trying to get the
no.
scale of this.
And we don't have an HEB. Like, I need an HEB on the island.
What?
HEB? Don't know what an HEB
Oh, a
is? That's
heb?
it.
The heb?
The Heb.
The Heb.
The Heb.
What's the key?
It's like a Wawa
It's a grocery
in
store.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. Is it?
It's a grocery store.
I thought it was like a gas station. No.
Well, they do have a gas station.
They do have a gas
convenience.
station. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like Meijer,
But it's a
probably.
grocery store
Grocery store.
for the most part. Yeah.
Okay.
There's lots of things that you can't find on the island, honestly. It's kind of a pain in the ass. But, and so like like my hair place is not on the island. I don't,
Oh,
you know,
right.
so I go to Houston for that, or I go to the mainland. So if I go to the mall, I have to go, I go to the mainland. But like during this time of year, because it's summer and there's so many people on the island, you kind of got to be careful getting on and off because there's so much traffic.
Oh.
You're like, get off this island.
Only one way in,
So
one
many
way out.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
I don't know what to
terrible.
think, Emily, because my sister, maybe it's my sister. She's not. She's in Michigan. She's from Michigan. We're from Michigan.
Okay.
She married a guy who's a Houstonian. Like
Okay.
he's
Yep,
from
it's good
born and
people.
raised,
Yeah,
right?
good people.
Oh, it's interesting. It's a whole other world that I've learned over the years. Oh, very
people.
Houston, very Houston.
Wow.
So, but first time she moved there, I was like, let's go to like the ocean. I'd like to see the ocean. We're here in the
Right.
summertime. It's hot.
Yeah.
Like let's. She's like, you don't want to. She's kind of like,
Yeah.
you don't want to go to the ocean. But then we ended up going. Like I convinced her. She's like, fine, let's go to the ocean. And I'm like, what is this? We just walked
Right.
into. It's like black sand,
Oh.
and the ocean was like.
Not.
It was like I'm thinking I'm gonna see. I swear to God, I thought
Crystal
I was in
blue waters.
Clearwater,
Yeah.
Clearwater Beach. I'm
Sure.
like, that's what I think we're
Yeah, that's
walking
not
into.
our island.
And I was
Yeah.
like, what in
Yeah.
the hell did I just like step into?
Yeah.
Happening.
It
Well,
was.
see, when
it
you're
was
from
sketchy.
Houston, and so like we vacation in Florida a lot, and we go to see the
Right,
the Emerald,
right.
whatever. And but when you're from Houston, I mean that's our beach. Like it's easy to get there.
I know, but do you swim in it? Do you swim
I will go in it, but
Interesting.
it's not always.
There was no judgment in that.
No. She's like, I will go in
I
it.
will go in it. You know.
Okay.
Was
But
it a tetanus
Certain,
shot?
certain,
That
like
was
certain
like a
times of the year.
little
She's like
tetanus
certain
shot?
times of the year.
Okay, there are times when, and actually I was very surprised about this because we used to just go down there for the day, right?
Sure.
I mean, we didn't like spend too much time. But there are times when the water is pretty clear and I'll say almost green. Not like
No,
Florida
that
green,
makes sense, right.
But it's green. It's really because it's like, the Mississippi River and it's like got all the,
Silt.
yeah, and I guess I don't know
Yeah.
if drainage isn't the right word,
No,
but
no, I know what
all
you
that
mean,
flows
yeah.
into the ocean, and that's why it looks so brown.
But there are times when it's not
But there
brown.
are times when it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
It's
it kinda-
calm,
kinda
and
freaks
just
me out, if I was
green.
honest.
Yeah,
Like-
a lot of people are like, "Ew." That's not
We had really,
exactly
our
a
girls were really
beach.
small at the time, and they're like,
You're
they're
like,
kind of looking at
you
like,
can't go in that water.
because they're used to like in Michigan, Lake Michigan, which
Yeah.
is beautiful,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's like looks
Yeah,
like
yeah.
clean, clear
Right,
water.
looks
So
like
it's
the
clear.
ocean.
It looks like the ocean,
Not
and they're
salty.
like, "Whoa, what is that?" I was like, "I don't," and I'm trying to be like, "Oh no, it's fine." I'm just like, "Shit, I don't even know if it is fine."
It's like I'm not going in.
Oh my god, that is.
And I mean, like to
hilarious.
my knees, I remember just being like, "I'm pretty sure we shouldn't be in here." If I'm honest, yeah.
So I live on the West End, and I live on a canal, and in my subdivision, and actually, do you know Scott Willie? So he has a house in, you know Scott? He has a house in Jamaica Beach, and I heard, so like, you join like Facebook groups,
Sure,
you know,
right.
whatever. And apparently there's an alligator.
Oh,
And I had
God.
first seen an alligator. This is saltwater. This is not like a lake or, whatever. And so I guess he was cruising around Jamaica Beach, and then after this last storm, we had an alligator in our canals. So yeah, I'm like, am I going in that water?
It can happen, right? They can they can start to get used to the salt. That's
Right.
the weirdest part.
Yeah, I don't really get that.
Well, it's funny because in Michigan, we have lakes all over the place, inland lakes, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a house on a lake now,
Yeah.
and it's amazing, and we love it. So my sister and I and my brother, we all grew up with like lakes.
Yeah.
And in Michigan, they call it going up north, right? So you live in Detroit or whatever, you go
Okay,
up north and you
yeah.
go to like lake and you swim in this. Well, my sister's like, she's in Houston now, right, for like 20 years, and she's like, well, they're doing something for their anniversary, and they rented a house on a lake.
Okay.
And then they get there, and she's like, well, I mean, let's go swimming. And my brother-in-law's like, Jason's
No.
like, whoa, we can't go swimming in that lake. She's like, what are you talking about? He's like, there's like alligators in that lake. You can't go swimming in there. She's like, what is the point of this? Why am I here? Like,
Right.
she had no concept
No,
of it.
yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not going to work down there.
What lake did they go to?
I have no
You
idea.
don't know?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But it is pretty
But
funny.
like Lake Conroe, it's a big lake. Lake Travis is in Austin. It's a nice lake. I don't think there's alligators out there.
This wasn't very big, I don't
Okay.
think. So there's got to be alligators.
Yeah.
That's what I was like. That's pretty sure there's alligators.
I'm like,
in
I'll
that
swim with
lake.
sharks, but I'm not doing an alligator.
Yeah, no, sharks. You're like, they're probably gonna leave you alone.
Exactly.
Alligators, not so
like,
much.
Yeah, not so much.
Hello.
And you can't see them. That's
Right, yeah. And
Shark,
I have like,
I can see.
I have like a little, I guess my patio, so that, I'm like, it's like a 3-story,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
technically on stilts or whatever. But it goes down for the water where the, boat dock is. And I've got a little Jack Russell. And so when I hear about this alligator, like I'm
Right.
terrified. He's going to pop up out of the water
Just
and eat my
grab your dog.
Grab my
See you later.
God, that is terrifying. Do you guys
know,
have a
that would
boat?
be awful.
Do you have a boat?
I do have a boat. I'm not like really a boating person.
Yeah.
It's really my kids talked me into it. So they're like, yeah, buy the big house, buy the boat, we'll come down and see you. Not.
Ben just got a boat.
I did.
Pontoon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we just got our first boat. It's very fun. I love it.
Yeah, mine's just a little fishing boat. I mean, I say little, it's not that little, but it's not like a big...
27-footer.
No,
It's
not
got
27.
300 horsepower. It's two twin on the back. It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. It's very small. It's it fits 20. It's fine. It's very little.
Fine.
We've really only
We have a
managed to-
captain
yeah,
and a deckhand,
that's
but
right.
you know,
They show up. You know that show Below Deck?
he just lives there, which is weird, but it's fine. No, I'm not making out that you're a billionaire.
No.
Emily, you're not.
No.
So how'd you get into RevCycle?
Oh my God, a million years ago.
I like that we asked this question. There's a lot of people like, well, I just thought I was doing a summer job, or I
Oh,
just
really?
thought I was doing, like an internship. And
Well, there was
and
this
then-
hospital, and
there
like, I
this
was close,
hospital,
and I
needed
asked
a
him, could I
job.
get a
It didn't
job?
really
And
start
they
that
were
way.
like-
So actually, my degree, I hate to even say this out loud, but it's in nutrition.
Oh,
And so I know, yeah. And I do have my master's now, but at that time I just had my bachelor's. And really, to do anything with a nutrition degree, you have to you do like a year's
RF, what do they
an
call
RD,
it?
registered
RD?
dietitian. You have to do like I forget what it's called. It's kind of like a practicum, internship, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like a year, and then you take a test and you can, do that. And then when I graduated, I didn't really have money to go do that. I couldn't just go live somewhere, not
Right.
work, and just do that
And work
full-time.
for free.
And work for free.
Not get paid to work for
Exactly.
free.
I was like, well, I can't do that. So I did some things around that, I guess, line of work for a couple years, and then I got on with a payer, like the devil's side. I
you got
worked
on
at-
with Satan.
I did start with Satan. And I worked for Nile Care, if you remember, that's back
Yeah.
in the day. Denial Care, what we used to call them.
Beelzebub Inc.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
And then, so that kind of exposed me to like healthcare. I was doing just like provider relations or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And so then Texas Children's, which is obviously a hospital there in the medical
Yeah.
center, was hiring at their health plan, doing like contracts. So I was doing provider enrollment, and I was working with different physicians on, their contracts. So I got a position there, just doing contract negotiations on behalf of the hospital. And actually really didn't like the job. I was like, it was very, like I needed to talk to people, and when you're negotiating a contract,
Yeah.
you'll put in your red lines or whatever, and you
Right.
send it to the payer, and it sits for 3 months or 6 months or whatever.
It's
It's like, oh my god!
It's not like on the movies where you're like sitting in this hot room
Yeah, right,
and you're
in a
like,
conference
"I
table,
said
like,
yeah."
"Arr."
Yeah, that's not
And,
that.
no, it's not that. And so it just wasn't for me. I was just like, well. And I was leaving. I was going to go work, I forget the name of the company, but I'd known the business office director, and I told her I was leaving. She was like, no, you can't go. You stay here.
Right.
Come in the business office. And I mean, I think back then, I shouldn't even say this out loud, I think their AR days were like probably above 75. I mean, they were like not in a good situation. So she created like this project analyst position for me, and the benefit of that was that I got to go work with like different areas of the revenue cycle, and really just it was more like it was around process improvement, like observe what they're doing, what can we do better, blah blah blah. So it exposed me to a lot of different areas of the revenue cycle, and so after that, it was really I just kind of progressed. I was at Texas Children's for 17 years.
Oh,
I
you
was
were?
a director.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was Rochelle Fleischer there when you were there?
So she came
After?
after me.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
She's
So
nice.
she is nice. I haven't met her.
Chris Thomas is there now, right? Yeah.
He is. Yep. Yep. So I left. So I got to UTMB. Let's see. It was 2016. So I've been there a little over 8 years.
As
So-
the leader for RevCycle.
As the VP. So that was like so I was the director at GCH for like 10 years. And that was like the next step up for me. And really to do it, I had to really probably needed to leave the organization.
Sure. Right.
And it was local, you know.
Yeah.
My kids were in school. I didn't want to like, you know, try and move, you know, because a lot of times to do that, you have to go to another
or state or, yeah.
or, you know, whatever.
No, we talked to my friend Jerry earlier. Oh,
I
you
wasn't
missed
here.
it.
I missed Jerry.
Yeah.
He just constantly.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
progressed really far. He's
Yeah.
just turned 40 and he's a CFO at a big system, you know?
Oh, yeah.
But he said, like, you have to work. I had to work really hard
Yep.
and keep moving
Yep.
organizations.
And I admire people that.
But that was a sacrifice. Like
Yeah,
we talked
it
a
is
lot
a
about
huge
kind of like
sacrifice.
and he just
Especially if you have kids,
he
I
just is a
think.
3-year-old now, so it's like
okay.
it's like this.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to do that
Right.
easily.
Right.
Like anymore.
You're exactly right.
It's hard. My
right.
kids are 14 and 15. It's like we're not
Right.
moving. Like
Exactly.
Right.
They don't like that would just
So you
kill
have a
them.
window, and then
Yeah, that window's
that's it.
gone.
Yeah, the window's gone.
Yeah. And actually, this job at UTMB, my son had just graduated from high school and my daughter was going in.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't even like I was pulling her out of high school. You know, it was
Right.
good. It was good timing.
Because you were still
for
in
me.
Pasadena.
No. I was living on the northeast side.
Oh, that's
like
right.
in
You were
Kingwood.
yeah. Kingwood. Okay.
Northeast side.
Yeah.
So it was just good timing, and it worked out. My daughter, you know, we actually moved to Friendswood. She did well there, even not knowing anybody going into high school.
Right.
So it just worked out. It was good.
Cool. So, can I ask you a question that's just
Sure.
like probably totally unrelated?
Sure.
Because I still it's so confusing.
What's that?
Explain the UT system to me because I don't fully understand. Like Kelly's a very good friend, and
Yeah.
UT Southwestern is in, is a member at Tarbin, and like,
Yeah.
So I understand it, but then I don't understand it at all. Is it like a federation? Is it like owned by the government of like Texas
so
government?
We are a state institution. We're all state, so it's
Sure.
us. The hospitals. So it's UTMB, it's MD Anderson Cancer Center there in Houston, and UT Southwestern. So those are
Not
all
Texas
the,
Children's.
No. Texas Children's is not part
It's
of.
totally separate.
That was totally separate.
Well, there's
Yeah.
not more than the three of you guys.
From the hospital perspective.
Okay.
So there's UT Health that has a physician group. There's UT San Antonio. They're actually building a hospital. There's UT RGV, which is Rio Grande Valley. There's RGV, Rio Grande Valley, which is
Okay.
down south in Texas. There is Tyler, UT Tyler. So there's a group there. And they actually merged. I don't actually completely understand that's what they did, but the physician group, it's still part of UT system.
So is
So
there
we're all
one
part
like
of-
president, like one CEO that's over UT?
So there is a chancellor,
chancellor.
of UT
Oh.
system.
Well,
Wow.
His name is Dr. Milliken.
and that's
then
University of Texas.
University of Texas Health. Well, actually, that's the school. I say in health system, but it's actually all of it. UT system. It's more than a health system.
So the school technically owns the health systems, or no?
No.
No.
Not. I wouldn't say they own it, but we all report up through UT system.
Okay.
Does that make
Chancellor.
sense? To the
I
chancellor.
don't know if it does, but
It's all a
chancellor.
mystery to me.
I love the academic like titles.
Yes.
It really kills me.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I didn't really understand
Like
the titles
chancellors
either.
or chairs, like Mayo's. All
chairs.
Mayo stuff is like, well, this person's the chair of RevCycle.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the?
Right.
Yeah, what
does
is
that
that?
mean?
What does that mean? What is a chief of
think it's-
staff when you're, you
Yeah,
know?
I think
and,
the chair in that world is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
I think
It is.
Really
When
know.
we have like we have like in the, so we have like 3 mission areas really. So we have the health system. then we have
missionaries.
Mission areas. So we
Areas.
have the
areas.
I thought she said missionary. I was like, God, it's religious too. I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
mission areas.
We also have a pope.
Well, we have a pro. That's what I was going to say. So
And
our
we're,
academic medical.
Mormon.
I mean,
and we're Mormon.
That's right.
That's where I thought we were
know, we're
going.
like
And there's a
Mormon there.
mandatory
And
2-year.
And
Like,
we
I
wear
was like, what
magic.
the
We wear
what
the
is
magic
happening?
underwears. That's what
What is
is
happening? We go door to door for 2 years. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Where are we? Okay, wait. So mission areas. You have 3
mission
mission
areas. The
areas.
health system. We have lose
Now
my-
we've confused.
Yeah, now
her.
you've confused
Even
It's our
she's
fault.
confused. Is there a
It's basically the clinical, all the physicians,
Okay,
and the
yes,
schools, and
sure.
all that. But what I was going to say is we have a provost, whatever that
I knew
means.
that word was coming our way.
Not
I
pope,
knew
but
provost was
provost.
happening. I knew it was coming for
like a
us.
dean
So he's over-
of
yeah.
academics?
Yeah,
But in this
gotcha.
case, provost is over.
He's over the faculty group practice. He's over
Gotcha.
all the education and research.
But if like UTMB wanted to just break off and we're gonna do our own thing now,
I don't think that's a thing.
because it feels like MD Anderson kind of does their own thing. Is that not true?
Nope, they're part of UT system.
So they're
We're all
all
part of UT system.
working together, but not really. But kind of.
Well, you're right, because we all have different instances of Epic, right? I mean,
Right.
You would think, right? Like,
But if you have someone has a contract with I don't know UTMB, can they have a Can you just transfer the contract over? Like
we
UT
can't transfer
Southwestern?
it over, but we have. No, we work very independently for sure. I know it gets kind of crazy.
Wild.
But you can put language in the contract that says, like, if I have a good contract and Kelly wanted to access it,
Right.
she'd have her own contract, but she can,
Gotcha.
you know.
I got you.
Use that.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Wow. I feel like
I don't know anymore.
I was like, I know slightly more and also slightly
Slightly less.
less. I feel
That's
like
okay.
the scales have balanced once more.
I don't think I know any more than what I did, other than the fact that I'm maybe less confused. I don't know. Not that you did a better job explaining. I just think it's confusing.
Right.
Well, just like the whole UT system thing.
Yeah, it's
Or
just
just-
interesting. I don't know. There's a
Yeah.
lot to it.
And now, a word from our sponsor. This episode of My Good Friends is brought to you today by our good friends at Switch RCM. And Nate is here to tell us about physician underpayments. Tell us, Nate.
Physician billing underpayments are a real challenge for providers. Claim volumes are very high, payments are lower than payments when compared to hospital side payments. We created technology that can handle those large volume of claims, automatically identify underpayments to help our provider clients recover those. And we do that using standard 837, 835 claims and remittance and contracts. That's all we need to help providers unlock that underpayment revenue.
Folks, it's a huge issue. So much volume. We know that Switch is doing just amazing work here. Contact Nate directly at nate@switchrcm.com for more information. Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
Now, back to the show. I'm
Well,
currently
I mean-
thinking of it as like it's a campus and there's hospitals on the campus. Like I'm just using the campus as like the holder, right, for the thing.
Not a physical campus.
no,
just
not a
yeah.
physical campus, but like, right, so you're like,
Well, I mean,
there's these-
you do. I mean,
yeah.
so you certainly have the University of Texas in
Right.
Austin. That's school, great school.
Right.
So, like a UTMB, we have the medical school. So we have, the medical school. We have a nursing school. We have a PTOT school. So if you're walking around down at UTMB, kind of feel like you're on a
so there is a
school
Well,
campus.
it's interesting because I think Vanderbilt, what I know about them is they've been going through this fight with the university around who owns IP that's created at the hospital. Because they're doing a bunch of innovative things, and
Yeah.
the university says we own all that.
Yeah.
But they're saying you don't really own all that. We
Right.
created it. Like,
Oh,
so it's just like
interesting.
there's apparently I don't know that much about it, but just apparently there's this big argument about like. So I'm wondering, is that happening at other academics where it's like
Not that I'm aware
You're not
of,
aware,
but
right.
I would tend to think that it would be owned by UT System. Like they're gonna.
they would, yeah, that's ours. You created it, but
Yeah.
you didn't create
But
it.
you
It's
did.
really ours.
That's
yeah,
exactly
really,
right.
we own you.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
It is
that's
Texas,
right.
by the way.
Right.
Yes.
It is actually, yeah.
not disparaging against Texas, but I just feel like they
No,
probably
yeah.
feel like it's right of refusal. It's like,
Right.
we own this, yes.
That's exactly right.
Well, I'm now thinking of the fact, like, my boyfriend works for General Motors, and when he has a patent, he gets paid from General Motors, and his name, like, for it, his name is on the patent, but General Motors owns the patent.
Right.
Yes, but in these
So, like-
situations, people don't own the patents.
Right.
Like this
no, he
happened
ju-
to a friend
like-
of ours recently.
right.
No, where they cannot get personal ownership unless you're a physician.
Right.
Most of these places, academics don't let you.
Right.
They're
Well,
like,
if
no,
they-
we just own
Right.
it.
If they
Yeah.
develop
So
the
he's at least
patent,
got
he
a
doesn't
good
get any
thing.
more money. He got the $5,000 or whatever it was for the patent.
Oh, he
and
doesn't
that's
get
it.
continual.
No.
Yeah.
It's over.
Kind of like if, we, on the research side of things, if they come up with, a new device or a vaccine or whatever, I mean, all of that's owned by UT System. I mean, there's, I don't know who
Gotcha.
all gets the,
Where do those profits go?
or I don't know who gets paid what, but it's owned by UT
It's not that
System.
kind of podcast.
It's not
We're
the-
not going to do that.
I've always wanted to do an expose
That's-
type of podcast, but maybe this isn't the right time.
Right.
I do think I have a calling in that, though.
I think there are probably other topics that you could pursue.
Well, at times, do you remember the whole Olive thing? Olive, you remember that company Olive, right?
Olive.
What, the automation company that raised $1 billion?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And then built a building.
Well, so I
went out
had
of
said some
business.
disparaging
But they're not around
comments.
anymore,
No,
right?
they're gone. So I can
Okay,
say the
yeah,
story.
okay.
I had said some very poignant comments, maybe.
I don't think it was disparaging. I think you were questioning.
poignant comments and questions about Olive. They had raised $1 billion, and I was
Okay.
basically like, "This is a sham." And how could you raise this amount of money when everyone knows that it's not going to work? Like, and you have there's some accountability,
Right.
here, but it's basically like calling them out.
Right.
Well, the CEO, the founder guy, this guy Sean, he
This is
sends
a
me
good
a message, right? Like instantaneously. And he's just like inviting me to like come, it's like this whole like
Come to Ohio.
come to Columbus and we'll show you all the cool stuff
right.
we're doing and I was like,
And I was like, Ben's gonna go to Columbus and never come back.
seriously, people are like concerned
right,
about
you're
my
not going to
safety, right? And I was
Columbus,
like,
so-
well, I
Really?
mean, I
Take
think
Nate
I'm
with you because he's intimidating, though he's a softie. But you know what I mean? He's my bodyguard.
That's right. He's got tattoos. He's
a
very
big guy, I feel
So
like.
I responded with like, look, like, thank you for the offer. I'm not coming to Columbus. But I said I would give you an opportunity on the podcast to tell your side of the story. But I made the point was I'm not an investigative reporter. Like
Right.
I'm ultimately not trying to get to some
Right.
thing that's 3 layers down
Right,
that
right,
expose you for like fraud. I'm actually honestly giving you an opportunity,
Right.
which he refused. And I
Really?
was like, but this is your shot
Right.
to like honestly give you a space to tell your side because I'm sure, and I'm positive. I'm still positive this day.
Right.
There's another side of the story of like why you would go do X and why it didn't work. Right.
yeah.
Like I know
Right.
there's got to be another side of the story.
Right.
There's just not.
And apparently,
There's
where
not
is
hundreds of
Right.
non-altruistic people
Right.
making decisions there. In fact, I hired 2 other people. They're the best.
Oh, yeah?
Like
Right.
it's not. And even at that top level, I don't believe that.
Right.
But I also gave him an opportunity to do so.
And he said,
No,
no, thank you.
which I still think it was a mistake.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm not an
So yes,
investigator.
he could be an investigative reporter.
How long was it before they shut their doors?
It was a year later. But it was that summer that I started. They were like it. It was word came out. One of there's like what group is it that does more investigative type reporting?
I
Is it
I couldn't
Axios or
tell
something
you.
like that?
Oh, maybe.
They found out from a source that they were carving out assets to sell it. And I lost my mind because I was like, after all this,
Right. Well, you were suspicious to begin with.
I was already like,
And now here's evidence that your suspicion
but
is
then it
well-founded.
was like,
Right.
and then people were like piling on at that point, and then a year later they shut the
Right.
doors like
Yeah.
instantaneously one day.
And then I believe you had some good friends who were using Olive or potentially using
I knew some
Olive.
people that were
Yeah.
using it and trying to get off it, and at 10 a.m. on Tuesday, they had no idea
Just
that
shut it
everything
down?
got shut off. They didn't own the IP. They didn't they didn't have process definition documents.
Oh,
They
wow.
didn't. It was their proprietary software, so like you didn't have
Yeah,
a platform. It's
right.
not like you just transitioned to
Right.
UiPath. It's like they didn't have
Right.
anything. They literally had nothing. They lost it all.
Wow.
It's at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. I'm like, that's unconscionable. And they sold that company for something.
Yes.
So I'm like, and I know for a fact, Sean probably made out with $100 million.
Right.
So it's like,
Wow.
I don't know what the number is, but I'm guaranteeing it's more than 8 figures, or
Right,
it's 8
yeah.
figures, and I'm like, that's ridiculous on my
He's
mind.
not gambling at that $15 table.
And
He's
he owns
not.
a little bit bigger of a boat.
He probably does have
A bigger boat.
a
Bigger boat.
30-foot.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the
20
one with the
person yacht.
staff and the chef.
Yeah, he
Right.
probably does. But anyways, we digressed. Emily, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely.
It was great talking to you, learning more about you. We'll have to have you on again.
Absolutely.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
Good
Thanks,
luck
Ed.
in
Yeah.
Vegas.
Thank you. Yes, good luck. Go win. Win big.
My good friends, my good friends, my good